So as we continue to get comfortable in our seats and relax even more deeply into this time of worship, prayer, and meditation, let us open our hearts to receive the message of today's daily word. It is a very special day today, and I'm bumping Linda again. I'll have you read it another time, but we happen to have our beloved elder in the house who is celebrating her birthday today. So I think that we should have Lakshmi Crawford read the daily word. Let's give her a round of applause and send her birthday blessings.
Thank you, Maggie. Morning, everyone. Oh, thank you. 86 today. Yeah. What a miracle, huh? What a miracle. We're all miracles. Spiritual being. Sunday, February 10th, 2019. I begin each day dedicated to fulfilling my spiritual purpose. Because I'm a spiritual being, I am more than a physical body. My needs go beyond food and water. I find spiritual nourishment in prayer and meditation. Jesus knew the importance of realizing our inseparable relationship with the divine and taught that God is a living presence within. Realizing the importance of this teaching, I now recognize that the more time I spend in prayer, the more I will experience a sense of oneness with God and with all creation. Any earthly challenges are transformed by the divine presence within. I release all concerns with the quiet realization, a gentle knowing that the spiritual being I am is not limited in any way. Then I said, "Here I am. In the scroll of the book it is written of me, I delight to do your will, O my God. Your law is within my heart." Psalm 40, verse 7 and 8.
Thank you, Lakshmi. We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you. Unity Spiritual Center is a center of prayer and healing. We have a prayer box that's placed in the back, on the back table. That's our communal prayer box, and you're always invited to fill out one of the prayer request forms. They're printed on green paper, and you're always invited to fill one out and place it in the box. We like to make time in the service just to acknowledge the prayers of our community that are represented in that box. So let's just hold them in our hearts. And let's know for each person that's represented on those prayer request forms that divine love and divine order is in their lives. That God is everywhere present. The prayer requests that are placed in the box are prayed on by me and by our USC prayer team for 30 days. And then we forward them to Silent Unity at Unity's World Headquarters, where they are prayed on for an additional 30 days. As I mentioned, the prayer request forms are printed on green paper, and you are always invited to fill one out and place it in the box. But this time, we want to make our prayers audible. This is the time to offer your prayer needs to your spiritual family here so that we can support you and stand with you. So after we sing the introduction to this song, which is a call and response, you're invited to state your prayer requests aloud, and we will answer each prayer request by singing "Your Prayer is My Prayer Too."
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. 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 Your prayer is my prayer too.
We also have a time in our service where we share our blessings, those things that we're grateful for, our Thanksgivings. This is your time to share those with your spiritual family as well.
I am thankful for AAA Plus. am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We give thanks for this opportunity to bless and to be blessed in spirit. We give thanks for the feelings of peace, of connection, of warmth that fill our hearts and minds right now. We give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community, in our nation, and around the world. And we affirm that always and in all ways, divine love and divine order is everywhere present. At Unity Spiritual Center, your prayer is our prayer too. Amen.
My heart beats in the rhythm of love, synchronized in time. Every breath is a gift from God, a miracle sublime. This is the way I will live each day, creating peace and love with joy. And I am thankful for this moment, serving under God's employ. I leave myself wide open. I'm willing to receive. I can create a living space. In this I do believe. Spirit resides inside of me. Of this I have no doubt. And now I offer an escape and let this spirit out. For my heart beats in the rhythm of love, synchronized in time. And every breath is a gift from God, a miracle sublime. And this is the way I will live each day, creating peace and love with joy. And I am thankful for this moment, serving under God's employ. Into a world of beauty, into a world of sound. My eyes may cry a tear, the music will surround. The creation of this fantasy is as real as you or me. We shall put this vision forward, and it shall come to be. For my heart beats in the rhythm of love, synchronized in time. Every breath is a gift from God, a miracle sublime. And this is the way I will live each day, creating peace and love with joy. And I am thankful for this moment, serving under God's employ.
Magic wand. I have a collection, and this is me spreading love to you. We're going to be talking about love today. Why? Because it's February, and we've been seeing hearts in the stores since, the day before Christmas, I think. So it's interesting because, yes, we celebrate Valentine's Day. It's coming up on Thursday. Anybody know the origins of Valentine's? It's actually a little darker than the people know, but it was a Christian martyr named Valentine in the 3rd century. And periodically they would persecute Christians, and he was imprisoned. And while he was in prison, Valentine, it says, so the story goes, he was able to gather violets outside his cell window. And he sent them to his loved ones with the message, "Remember your Valentine." So that evidently is the origin, the genesis of Valentine's Day. Later he was canonized by the Catholic Church. And Hallmark took full advantage of that, and now we have a big old celebration. And love, of course, is such a vast and complicated and multi-layered topic that we could really spend a lifetime exploring it, talking about it, and it's always a little daunting in the space of, roughly 20 minutes to figure out what I want to say. Because there are many kinds of love. There, of course, is romantic love, there's familial love, love of friends and family, love of ideals and culture, love of God. For any of you who wrote The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis, he used the Latin names for those. Love of God, which we explored a little bit last week through our practice of Visio Divina. And of course, there is love of chocolate, which reminds me of a little Valentine's Day joke. 4-year-old Sam loved chocolate. And he saw this great big heart-shaped box. He was so excited, and he just couldn't wait to take a piece. And as he reached out to take one of the big pieces, his mother said to him, "Now, Sam, remember, if you touch it, you have to eat it." So little Sam took both hands, splayed out his fingers, touched all the chocolate, and he said, "All right, now I can eat them all." So some of us can maybe relate to that, right? But we're going to look at 3 aspects of love today: that we're loved by God, that we're called to love others, and that we can be better givers of love by mirroring divine love. So we know we're loved, right? That's a very important concept to get. And it's one that is pretty foundational to unity. It's one of the reasons I chose that song to sing at the beginning, "I'm Good," because so many of us didn't hear that when we were growing up, right? In many different milieus, we didn't hear that message. But we are, as I say every Sunday, individualized expressions of God. It sounds, it almost sounds hard to take in, but I always encourage us to spend a moment taking that in. Individualized expressions of God. We are God in the world. God is not outside us. God is in us. God is as us. We are individualized expressions of God. And our purpose is to relate more and more to that aspect of our identity, through the teachings of Jesus and other masters. That is what we're here to do, so that we can more and more express fully as that, as God in us. And I was thinking of my days at the Institute of Noetic Sciences. I worked for them in the late 90s. And while I was there, for a couple of the years I was there, was a man some of you may have heard of named Willis Harmon. And he was quite an amazing person. And he had something that I found so helpful, and I still repeat it, and I want to share it with you. Maybe you've heard it before. And that is 3 words: feedback, not failure. feedback, not failure. Because so often we find it hard to love ourselves or to love others because we're too busy blaming ourselves. We're busy blaming others. It stands in the way of that natural flow of love. I think probably we mostly get it in our own experience. We think, oh, I shouldn't have made that mistake. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that, whatever. And we find it really hard to feel that pure love for ourselves. But he said feedback, not failure. It's just feedback. That way didn't work. That's not a good way. Don't do it anymore, because it doesn't work. And I find that a really lovely thing to remember, because I think that there is a suggestion of divine love in that phrase. That it's feedback, not failure, if we find it hard to love ourselves, if we feel we've done something wrong. We're always given the opportunity to learn from our mistakes. We're always given the opportunity to try again, to do better. Feedback, not failure. Remembering that it is our quest to express more and more of God. So, as individualized expressions of God, we're also called to love. It's not enough just to be loved or to love ourselves. We're also called to love. And there's a little anecdote that is in a book by Unity writers, Mary Alice and Richard LaFolla, called The Simple Truth. And they tell the story of Minnie and Homer. Minnie and Homer. Love those names. They're pretty great, aren't they? And so Minnie was kind of upset because she hadn't heard from Homer that he loved her. They'd been married for, 52 years or whatever, and she never heard him say, I love you. And one time she just asked him, she said, Homer, do you love me? And Homer replied without a smile, Minnie, when we were married, I told you I loved you. If I ever change my mind, I'll let you know. Wow. So maybe Valentine's Day was built for people like Homer. Hopefully he was buying her a card along the way. So Homer may have thought that was good enough, but it's not good enough. That we're called, love is about continually expressing. It's about letting it flow through us. It's about letting it flow through us in greater and bigger ways. So it's designed to be like a fountain, to be like a flowing fountain. But a lot of times, and it's part of the human condition, and all of us have experienced this, where we place conditions on our love, or we decide that somebody's not lovable because they're different from us. Sadly, in our society today, we're seeing a lot of divisions being pointed out, and people closing their hearts to others because of differences. And Unity teaches, our spiritual truth, tells us that we're all God, we're all divine, that the divine is in all of us, not just in some of us, and certainly not just in those who share our political beliefs or our skin color or our socioeconomic status or whatever. God is in everyone, and these beliefs that we use to divide ourselves keep us from that flow of love. So if we are to love like we were designed to, then we need to open our heart, and we have to start loving everyone. And one of the homework assignments in our book that we're reading right now in the study group, Practical Metaphysics by Eric Butterworth, one of his homework assignments was to practice mirror work and look in the mirror and say namaskar or namaste to the image that you see in the mirror. Pretty powerful. I don't think anybody in our class actually did it, but I'm going to share that as something that you might want to work with if you have trouble loving yourself. But the idea here is that it's also a great thing to do when you're having trouble loving somebody in your life. That is a very helpful phrase, the Sanskrit phrase, which roughly means The divine in me salutes the divine in you. So when you're looking at someone who you're just feeling hard to open your heart to, remember that phrase, namaste. And you can either say it out loud if you think it would be received well or not. Say it to yourself. The divine in me salutes the divine in you. One of our new presidential candidates, seems like there's a whole lot of them already, doesn't it? Marianne Williamson is running for president, and she, of course, started her work with A Course in Miracles. I looked for this phrase, Cheryl and Mary Ellen, I couldn't find it. I thought that A Course in Miracles said that everything is either love or a cry for love. I Googled it, and it turns out that Marianne Williams said everything's either love or a cry for help. But the gist is the same, right? That if we're not experiencing love, if somebody's really feeling hard to love, the chances are high that they're just needing help, that their behavior is in a, ill, in a, I don't want to say inappropriate, but it doesn't help them out. It's in a way that maybe shuns people from loving them, but it's really a cry for help. It's a cry for love. This idea that we all want it, right? Is there anybody here who doesn't want love? No, it's part of all of us. And actually, it's so interesting that Marcy chose all these animal images, because I read this story this weekend that touched my heart so much about a baby elephant. I know, and this baby elephant was, perfect. I love that, thank you. This baby elephant that was rejected by its mom on birth, and she actually stepped on it. And so there were people who were around, I guess it was a preserve maybe, and they took the elephant who cried for 5 hours, and they kind of patched it up, and then they brought it back to the mom, and the mom rejected it again, and the baby cried. That made me so sad, but it's a good reminder of everything in the universe wants to be loved, right? That it's not just even people. It's something that all sentient beings, maybe even plants, there are studies on that too, desire that love, that positive attention, that energy. But it's hard sometimes, isn't it? It can be difficult sometimes to love the people in your path. So recognizing those two things, that they're divine too, that they may just be using a not effective way of crying for help to do whatever it is they're doing to annoy you or distance you. That should help to bring some of those barriers down within us. And of course, the final message, again, is to let God be God in us, as us, and through us. That idea that is our calling. We've talked about that. I think I mentioned that last week maybe, that when people look for the purpose in life, it can boil down to something very simple. My mentor, who I'll mention in a few minutes, used to say it's to love and create. Some people just say it's to love. It's just to love. It's just to learn better and higher and more persistent and continual ways of loving. But the idea about love is that you really have to feel it. You really have to feel it. So I won't ask for a show of hands, but it's a question to ask yourself. Have I really felt God's love? Has there been a time, or are there times, or is it a continual experience where I really feel God's love? And I'm going to quote Fillmore, our Unity co-founder, because this is what he said, and it talks about that. He said, "We may talk about the wisdom of God, But the love of God must be felt in the heart. It cannot be described, and one who has not felt it can have no concept of it from the descriptions of others. But the more we talk about love, the stronger it grows in consciousness. And if we persist in thinking loving thoughts and speaking loving words, we are sure to bring into our experience the feeling of that great love that is beyond description, the very love of God. So he's really clear here, which he isn't always, but he's really clear in that paragraph, isn't he? And I'm going to repeat that sentence that I think is so important. He said, if we persist in thinking loving thoughts and speaking loving words, we are sure to bring into our experience the feeling of that great love that is beyond description, the very love of God. So he's saying it's natural. We don't always feel it. You know, it's not necessarily something we always feel. It does take practice, and it takes persistence. That idea that it's something that we choose to do. And that, I think, is the most important point, is that love is a choice. Nobody's making us love. But how powerful a choice it is when we choose to love. When we choose to be a loving person. When we choose to let the divine work through us to show up as the love of God. In 1 John 4:16, it says, God is love. And it says a little more than that. It says, God is love, and he or she who abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him or her. So that's what we need to do to remove any barriers to love. To remember that God is in us and is in everyone. It's a matter of choosing to be a loving presence in this world. And isn't that what we need more of? Yeah, we need more love in this world, and it all boils down to each one of us making a choice. And that way, we can experience love, not only on Valentine's Day, but every day. And so it is. Thank you, God. It's still going. Sprinkle love around. So I'm going to give you a chance to go into a meditation that some of you may remember. I've done this before. It's the reason why you were given your little pink heart. This is a meditation that is from my teacher and mentor, the late Angelus Arian, who was a cross-cultural anthropologist. And she spoke of our hearts as being four-chambered, that there are four chambers of our heart, and that it's really important to unblock, to let all of those four chambers express fully. So I invite you, if you haven't done it already, just to lean back in your chair and to feel held by that chair back. It's such a wonderful felt sensation of how we're always held. We're always being held by the divine. And just let that beautiful music that Michael's playing begin to draw your awareness inward as you go deeper and deeper within. And if you haven't already, I invite you to close your eyes. And I'm going to ask questions for you to reflect on regarding the four-chambered heart. Where in your life are you full-hearted? Full-hearted. Where in your life do you bring every bit of your being? Who or what fills your heart with delight, with tenderness, with devotion? Where in your life are you full-hearted? And where in your life are you clear-hearted? Where in your life do you feel clarity? Do you feel assurance or certainty? Who or what in your life provides your foundation, your place of knowingness? That absolute knowing. Where in your life are you clear-hearted? And where in your life are you open-hearted? Where in your life are you able to be all of who you are without feeling any need for defense? Who or what in your life allows you to rest peacefully with your beautiful open heart? Where in your life are you open-hearted? And finally, where in your life are you strong-hearted? Where in your life do you feel strong and free and powerful? Who or what in your life calls you to stand strong in your love? Where in your life are you strong-hearted? Moments to feel those different loves that can guide your life, the elements of your precious life that make you feel full-hearted, clear-hearted, open-hearted, and strong-hearted. Just breathe deeply, knowing that all of that love is in your heart. Feeling all of that love in your heart. And know that this love that you feel is also felt for you. That the divine holds all of this love and infinitely more for you. Take a few moments to feel the depth, the unfathomable depth of how much you are loved, just as you are right now. anytime you can return to this beautiful feeling, this beautiful inner sanctuary that's yours. Begin now to gently bring your awareness back to this outer sanctuary, this place and time. And allow yourself to stretch, beginning with your fingers and your feet. And when you're ready, come back to waking awareness and open your eyes. And with those hearts, if you want to, you can jot down any notes or thoughts that you might want to remember from the meditation, or just keep them in front of you to remind you of different forms of love. Perhaps you've got information about what helps you to feel those ways, and you want to remember that. So that's just a little visual aid for you to continue to play and work with this concept. Unity offers positive, practical, progressive spiritual teachings and tools that honor the universal truth in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. And here at Unity Spiritual Center, we have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. And I invite you to join with me in saying them aloud. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are: we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And in this space, feeling inspired by our vision, mission, and values, feeling enriched by what we've experienced here today and what we're about to experience, hopefully over a wonderful lunch, let us take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. Practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a spiritual community, we are pleased to tithe 10% of the offering collected today to Unity World Headquarters and Habitat for Humanity. So let's take a moment now to bless our tithes and love offerings, holding them in our hands or next to our hearts as we say our offertory prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Every day, let go and let God. Close your eyes and pray. Let go and let God each and every day. Let go and let God. Peace will come your way. If your strength is waning, trouble seems so near, soon it will stop raining and dry up every tear. If your faith begins to falter, if darkness lingers on, the world will be your altar and God become the song. If we will let go and let God each and every day, let go and let God. Close your eyes and pray. Let go and let God each and every day. Let go and let God. Peace will come your way. If there is a question, love is our reply. Peace is our suggestion, and God is our supply. Let us keep the moment holy to satisfy our soul. God is the one and only who is in control, so we must let go and let God each and every day. Let go and let God. Close your eyes and pray. Let go and let God each and every day. Let go and let God, and peace will come your way. Thank you, Ron. We give thanks for the many blessings that are in our church this very moment. We open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that are ours to choose. We are filled with a mighty faith that empowers and frees us to live our divine purpose and serve our community with excellence. And so it is. Amen.
So I want to thank everybody who is giving service today. And we're going to thank them again with over lunch. But